Hello, everyone. It's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. I'm gonna try to get better. I'm like working basically two full-time jobs right now. It's insane. But I want to stop and make a video. I want to read more about this stuff on the internet because that's conducive to making videos. The problem is it's not conducive to making comics. And the creation and shipping and fulfillment, all that of comic books can take quite a bit of time. So I need to clone myself, essentially, is what I'm looking at. But Comic Book Workers United responds to Image Comics' latest. This is actually new. It is not old news. This is new. There's been a little bit of back and forth happening with Image Comics and said union, and I have an opinion. Surprise, surprise. So we're going to talk about this latest exchange, and I'm curious to see how this heats up. Before we get into that, though, I'm going to be launching a small, short Black Friday campaign. I'll let you know exactly when. It'll be in a week or two. We'll see. But it's going to include Pogs. These are some examples of Pogs. It's a crossover with Gods and Gears. Obviously, not a book crossover, but this is sort of testing the waters to see how the IP would work. But we've got Downcast Pogs, Gods and Gears Pogs, a Sweet Comic Slammer. There's another example of a trading card that'll be in the trading card set. There's another trading card just to show the crossover. So check that out. I'll announce it when it comes out. Again, short, sweet, and should be fun. All right. So Comic Book Workers United responds to Image Comics' latest. All right. So what's the deal here? I thought Image Comics responded. They did. Sort of. So let's see what it says here. After Image Comics employees organized as Comic Book Workers United and announced themselves as a union earlier this week, yesterday Image Comics issued a statement that chose not to voluntarily recognize the said union, but instead announced that there would be another vote for an existing non-comics industry-specific unionization. So that's the difference. There's another union that is not comics specific, and that is what Image Comics mentioned. So last night, the Comic Book Workers United issued their own update stating, quote, as of 5 p.m. today, Image Comics has failed to formally acknowledge our request for voluntary recognition. We are interpreting the lack of formal response coupled with a Twitter post about the company made about indicating their intention to force us into a totally unnecessary election as a denial of our request. This is disappointing given that 10 of the 12 eligible staff members have already voted to form and publicly support our union. But so this is given that 10 of the 12 total, that's it. 12 staff members are holding Image Comics hostage, or think they are. Not even that. 10 of them. 10 of the 12. Interesting. All right. So, but we are strong in our principles, and the pending election changes nothing. It is not too late for voluntary recognition to happen. We are asking our community of supporters to continue emailing, writing, tweeting that Image Comics can still voluntarily recognize CBWU. Signed, list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 10 of the 12. 10 people at Image Comics. Now, are these creators of Image Comics, talked about that last time in the last video, are these anybody that matter? The answer is no, they don't. Comics of all industries is so replaceable. You think that you are important, and yet you are not. That's how it is in many places. You know what? Try, though, being independent, because you end up being the most important person in the company, besides, obviously, the fans buying your books. Now, the reason why this is so hilarious to me is that I know Image Comics wants to portray themselves as pro-union just politically, for political reasons. Not only that, but what horrible working conditions can you possibly be under working HR at Image Comics? My goodness, what possibly could be the problem? So continues here. The Comic Book Workers United has also listed the following names of supporters to their cause. And here is a giant name of Supporters, Chip Zdarsky. What? These are random supporters, anybody in the industry trying to make these 10 people sound like they're more people. And the funny thing is, though, you got to think. So, Chip Zdarsky, for example, which creators do you think deserve to pay more to the union? Like, the money comes from somewhere. Are they going to raise the fees that creators pay? In case you didn't know, this is how Image works. It's about $6,000 for them to print a comic book. That's on top of you producing the comic book. So if you're someone like Jim Zub, who has done this a few times, where he finances the comic book creation process himself, and then through Image Comics gets the thing published, he pays the fee, and then years down the road, he will finally break even, and maybe eventually he'll make profit by the time he's an old man. So would those creators have to pay more to the middlemen in this process, to the company people, the company man? This is the exact opposite of what Image Comics was intended to be. So if you want to go back to the Marvel method of treating your creators, then I guess this is exactly the direction that you want to head in. It's not helping comic book creators whatsoever, because it's actually more of an entrepreneurial venture for those creators because they own their own IP. So, okay, Comics Crush Comics, women write about comics. They're literally going to put anybody in here that supports supports the unionization. Nerdette's a newsstand? I didn't know Nerdette was pro-union. Even if you're not pro-union, you could be, let's say you are pro-union. I've known there's a lot of people pro-union that think this is a stupid idea. So we will see what happens and where that money comes from. You can't get blood from a rock. Is that the saying? Anyway, so let me know what you think in the comments below. I am interested to see your thoughts on this and to see where this goes next, because Image Comics is in a tough position. They're going to have to say something. Okay, they're going to have to continue to address it, or what I would do is straight up ignore them or fire anybody that wants to form a union and try to hold your company hostage, because there's tons of other people that would die to have those jobs. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.